Welcome to Around the Hearth, a Hearthstone podcast brought to you weekly.
Hey guys, it's episode 12 of Around the Hearth. Welcome. As always, I'm Evil Squirrel. With me is
What's
ZT
up?
Dubs and Reap Bobson.
Hello.
We have for you today one of the most packed episodes we've ever put on. We've got a lot going on. I'm really excited. This is going to be one of the best episode we've ever done. It keeps getting better and better.
Easy.
First, we have with us today our first guest and interview. He's the creator of the Hearthstone League that I was just in and finished second in. So we'll have Adam with us in a little while for an interview. It would be really great to have him on the show. And at the end of the show, after the podcast, stick around to our stream, and we will post this on YouTube. We have our first player challenge ever to be had between one of our viewers and KP56. He'll be playing Reap Bobson in a epic match that must include a warlock. This stems from Kai writing in and telling about how terrible Bobson did in a tournament that he won. And there might be some stakes on the line, so stay tuned.
There's some pretty high stakes on the line.
There are some pretty high stakes. So
the loser's going to be crafting a golden Amgan Rager.
So if you want to see someone craft a golden Amgan Rager, because I know I do, stick around to the end of the show. And if you're listening to the podcast and want to check it out, we will be posting it up on our YouTube, and you can always, of course, watch the stream here on Twitch. So with that, let's just get into the show, because I can't wait to get into our awesome content today. Talk about our week in Hearthstone. Dubs, why don't you go first? How's your week in Hearthstone?
Nothing too exciting, just grinding on the ladder, playing some more Inner Fire Priest, sprinkling a little bit of Pirate Warrior in there. Just, the usual.
The classic. The classics.
Mainly, my week's been big time prepping for this feature match we're having. So I'm very stoked for that.
Yeah. Dubs is our behind the scene guy.
What about you? Have you hit Dad Legend at all?
I've got my 4th Dad Legend of the month.
That's crazy.
I've got the Quad Dad. I've got the Quad Dad.
You going to push for Legend on one of those bad boys?
Yeah. Ideally I'll hit it on EU before the end of the season. Either possibly standard, possibly
I think you should
wild.
do it on Asian server. Just cause.
I mean, I could. I've got it. So I've got the core few decks on all the servers. I've just been playing the same ones, and obviously just playing wild on my native server. I started at rank 12 2 days ago in wild, and I'm now rank 5.
Can you tell all of us exactly where you got rank 5 this month?
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, what servers? What standard, wild? Where have you got?
So standard on all 3 of the main servers. So EU, Asia, NA, and I've also got it on wild on EU. This was my weird made-up goal for this season.
You reached it. Congratulations.
Well, 5.4. I did it. So now maybe I'll. I got really I've just I hit a kind of wall around rank 3 on my main thing. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna play something else. Play some noobs. But then I said, the wild one was kind of I wanted to see just how good an egg druid deck I could make.
That deck's good.
Turns out I can
make.
That
deck is really good.
Yeah, no, but I like making my own variants of these the kind of simple archetypes. I don't like net decking aggro. I like kind of testing my knowledge of what's in the archetypes, what makes them work, how you can tailor them, and just see. So I played I played Egg Druid from rank 12 to rank 5 in like a few
It's
hours.
quick. Yeah,
Turns
it's
out
very
wild.
quick.
Turns out Wild's not very good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I had a good week.
So, how about you, Squirrel?
Yeah, it was a good week. I did actually. I didn't even push for Legend. I really just kind of stumbled my way in with my aggro paladin deck. If you play my aggro paladin deck, you can just stumble into Legend. It's probably that easy. No, but in all seriousness, it was good. I'm glad I made it for the third month in a row now, and I didn't even have that as a goal. So I've just been playing lots of Murloc Paladin. I did craft myself two golden Murloc Tide Callers as a little treat to myself. But
Do you have the Golden Finger yet?
no.
Is that next?
Golden
Is
Finger.
that next?
Yeah, that's probably next. The first was Sunkeeper Tarim.
And the Stone Hills. Now it's the Tide
The
Callers.
Stone Hills. Now it's them. So.
How about Megasaurs? Surely that's got to be like a big one, right?
Well, no, because they don't. Their effect doesn't change them to be golden, so it's almost like bleh, and they're epics. I think,
That's expensive. Yeah, that's
high
a lot of
cost.
dust.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Epic's pretty.
So that was good. So now, really, what I'm just doing is it's just having fun. I did play Dude 7597 today. I think those are his numbers. So I did play a pro today. Got him to 2 and lost. He had some epic top decking.
Nice.
But my goal, I'm trying to decide my goal for next month. I don't know if I want to go and just play Mage because I'm about 100 wins off from my Golden. But I really want to just get Rogue to level 60, and I'm around level 40 because I don't play that class. So I think I want to just learn how
you should do that.
to play that because I want the gold Ooze. I want the gold, the gold Murlocs. So I think I might do that. And I crafted that gold Sherazin.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever his name.
Dude, you need to get that miracle going.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
frankly.
Rogue's going to be my deck for next month. So that's what's going on with me.
I'm more than happy to coach you some more.
Yeah. We'll have a Bobson coaching session.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. And learn how to play. I am terrible at that deck. So that's great. So listen, for all the viewers who know our normal order, there is some news today. We do have some big announcements and things that we need to discuss, but we are going to do that a little bit later in the show. So for right now, I would like to introduce a local friend of mine and now a friend of the podcast, Adam Nachmias. He is the creator of the Hearth John League, and we'd like to welcome you to the show. Welcome, Adam.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you for coming.
Howdy.
Thank you for having us. You are officially our first guest, so
It's an honor.
there's a
How's
very
it feel?
in our podcast parts.
I had some feelings coming on. I was like excited and then nervous, and then I got hungry, and then I got tired, so I took a nap and I had a popsicle.
Nervous hunger.
Well, I'm glad that you
kind
were
of
able
fun.
to make it. I'm glad that we didn't need to send over a doctor. That it got well. So I guess one of the first things that I guess a typical person would ask is, one, how did you really get started with Hearthstone, and then why did fireside gatherings become something that you've become so invested in?
Okay. So got started with Hearthstone actually back in the beta, believe it or not.
Best way to start.
Where everything was like the Wild West,
Yeah.
as we like to call it. Where Adrenaline Rush was a card and things didn't make sense. And I kind of took it kind of casually for a little while. Like I would because at the time I was heavily invested in World of Warcraft,
Yes.
with a raiding guild, and I basically just hit rank 20 every month with a card back, and then call it a day. And then summer, I want to say 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I was approached by a tournament organizer for the Philadelphia fighting game community, saying he wanted to have a Hearthstone tournament at a side event as one of his events, and I said, okay, I'll do it. And it was kind of a pilot event, and things were kind of rough. And this was back in the day of there were only 3 sets, and it's last hero standing was pretty much the norm.
Right. Yeah.
And we got 8 people to show up, and we had a full tournament, and it went pretty smooth. And I kind of just ran with it from there. then there became the demand of, well, we won't need more. We want more competitive events, and the natural progression seemed to lean toward doing something online because we didn't have really at the time at least, a place to go on a regular basis where everyone could meet up and play, like a LAN center or a comic shop or anything like that. So I created the Hearthstone Online League to, one, allow those people who wanted to play competitively and hone their competitive game to get together and compete with like-minded individuals.
Sure.
And then also to help get exposure for, at least at the time, for some streamers such as Sir Turtle, such as Pants, such as my friend Felax at the time. And while we haven't done the streaming thing for the last couple seasons, minus the finale, the league has grown, and I'm really, I'm pretty happy with the way it's been going on, and hopefully it continues to pick up steam, and I can reach my goal of handing someone a championship belt as the trophy, as opposed to the acrylic that Matt received, that Freyas received this season.
So this initial approach was what led you to want to do the Hearthstone series.
Yeah, there was a demand from the player base that I knew, and then I reached out and started the Philly Hearthstone Players Facebook group, which I believe the three of you are members of. I'm not,
I'm not.
You don't have to be a member. You don't have to be in the Philadelphia area.
Become our token grit pops, and we'll allow you in there.
Yes, we actually do.
Yes.
I actually don't. I don't discern geographic location for joining the group. You're, it doesn't really matter as long as you like Hearthstone and appreciate hilarious memes. Then you can.
I like both Hearthstone and memes.
Oh, then you'll fit right in. But the creation of the group led to, it was actually the predecessor to creating the online league, where people just kind of stumbled their way into the group as I made it public on Facebook, so anyone could search for the group. I believe I posted it on Reddit like one time. I can't recall honestly, but
I've read it.
Yeah. But that's kind of how things got started. It was basically there was a demand for events or competitive play in the local little scene. So, and I like to think I'm pretty good at organizing things. So I decided to take the reins and start a part, John.
But before we go to the next question, which you have, I just wanted to let the viewers know that's actually how I found I met Adam and the group. I actually searched the Fireside Gathering tool that's on the Blizzard, in like the just on the Hearthstone website, and I found one of Sir Turtle's events, and I went to the event, and I heard someone. I was a little intimidated when I went there because everyone kind of knew each other, and I heard someone mention the Philly Hearthstone group, and so I looked it up and I joined the group, and it was a very welcoming group, really cool people in there. And that's where I heard about Hearthstone, and I got to meet more people, and it's a good community. I personally definitely thank you for all.
Yeah, this year we actually just eclipsed 300 members, so
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. I wouldn't say we're a huge group; we're more ragtag, but I'll take it.
I love the word ragtag.
So who's got the next question here?
So we're just going to order from here. So what sort of things do you think people consider least when it comes to setting up live play, or the most underappreciated aspects? Layout, spectating, technical issues, and all that good stuff.
Well, the biggest technical issue comes to, unfortunately, technical issues, which is basically this game has to be played online. Yeah. There is no LAN. You can't set up a LAN for it, really. There's no LAN. There's no LAN servers publicly available that places can set up. So it really comes down to can the network support the amount of people that are going to be at your gathering, and that's and the answer is either a clear yes or no. It's not like in between, So if you were for the first one we had it it was at a hotel, and for those of you who are listening may or may not know, hotel internet isn't exactly the best.
What are you talking about, man? It's always so reliable.
Yeah, well, that $10 you put on per day for your internet goes a long way.
I like those bits a second.
But but as far as I never really felt like I had an issue with like promoting or getting the word out that we were having an event or in being able to answer any questions anybody had. You just, it's just nice to like just plan ahead, think things out, think about the flow of how the event's going to go.
I feel like the fireside gathering thing is really useful on the Blizzard website too, especially like
that's a great avenue for innkeepers to post up about their events. Whether big or small, casual or competitive. I mean, for the most part, the fireside gathering is a pretty free form thing. You can pretty much do whatever, as long as this is a meetup to play Hearthstone, or some sort of Hearthstone related meetup.
Sure.
I don't. Most of them will not be competitive. Some of them will.
Yeah, I went to one that was just commons only decks, and that was fun.
We did do a challenge stone one time. I thought it was
challenge
successful.
stone.
Yeah, we did. We took a vote on 3 different ones. I think we did. It was wild class cards only.
Oh fuck!
Wow.
Wow.
Man,
I think I really like Paladin Hunter. I couldn't think of anything couldn't think of anything else at the time.
Yeah, I
but
feel
it
like
worked
Drew
out.
would be pretty good at that.
Snow Sugar.
The most popular ones were like Mage. Shaman was a popular one. At least at the time, because everything was available. But anyway.
I mean, now you could just do Tunnel Trog Totem Golem. That would
that was like, I think that was the mindset when people were queuing up a Shaman for that event. But anyway, you can really kind of mold the fireside gathering into anything you really want to. It's just a matter of, the other thing I like to do is I make sure I like to, get in touch with the local business or wherever I'm going to have it, because this is kind of like you're kind of like running a pseudo partnership with them. You want people to come to their venue. You also want to have your event there too. So you're kind of like the people coming there. So you want to support them as much as they're supporting you. They're giving you space and access to their internet and everything. And you want to promote their business. You don't necessarily saying you're giving them free advertisement, but you should be like, hey, this is a cool place. Come have a drink. If it's a bar, come have a drink. If it's a coffee shop, buy a coffee. If it's a LAN center, come chill and play some games with everybody. Buy some time on
their cake.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
Yeah, I brought my daughter to the last one that was held in a comic shop near us called.
Yes, by the way, we have her sippy cup. You can come claim it whenever.
Yeah, thank you. My daughter did draw a nice dinosaur and gave it to David. She had a lot of fun, but we did support the local comic shop. It was something I wanted to do to make sure, I kind of showed that, that I appreciate them giving us the space, and they really make it a very good environment for us. So,
right,
I really like it there.
Sweet. Well, so I've got a question, which is why I just like less about the organizational side. So obviously you've been playing Hearthstone for a long time, like
long enough, I guess.
Obviously, I guess you play a lot of ladder, and you've seen a lot of tournament play as you're constantly organizing it.
Yeah.
What do you think like the biggest differences between ladder and tournament play? Is this something interesting?
Well, the easy answer is the biggest difference between ladder and tournament play is that you can ban out decks you don't like.
Oh yeah.
So you can plan your lineup around. You can plan your lineup to ban out a certain class, or you can cater your lineup to focus a certain deck archetype. Example, I think I ran at the most recent Sir Turtle event, the one for the BlizzCon ticket. I ran what did I run? I ran Top Warrior, Quest Rogue, and Control Mage. So I picked decks that were genuinely good, and my plan was to just flat out ban Druid because I didn't want any part of either one.
Yeah.
Of course.
And then my secondary plan was to ban Rogue because that's always my plan because I don't let Rogue through in tournament. But so the biggest part is the thing is like, since you can come prepared to kind of like make those kind of if scenario, like, plan around those kinds of scenarios. It's not like ladder where I queue into somebody, I don't know what they've got. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just
you can take away
Rogue
matchups. Yeah.
Rogue, please don't play the turn 1 quest, please.
Yeah, it's like
Please.
it's like please let this not be quest rogue. Now you can be like,
Ban Rogue.
just ban it out. It's like and my reason, this is just, I don't mean to talk. I don't want. Forgive me for talking shop about play styles, but my play style is Rogue has Rogue has the easiest propensity to steal a game, like literally and figuratively, in any matchup, even though they where they shouldn't win.
Yeah.
That's why I never let it through in tournament if possible.
Yeah, no, sure.
Yeah, I agree.
And that really, that's one of the things that me doing tournaments more recently now, because I did a few here and there, and I just played them like I was playing ladder.
Right.
But then the Hearth John tournament was the first time that I really took the time to sit down and groom my lineups specifically with a game plan, in mind for fans, and how I'm gonna play, and like getting a list of, okay, which decks should I queue first, and which decks should I play if I know they're gonna be playing this, like that. Like there's a lot of mental preparation that goes into really preparing a tournament.
Yeah, the thing is, the other thing about tournament is you need to think about when you're going in after a ban is done, what your queue order is going to look like. So, I'll give you another example. This is probably a more easy example. So, Sunday we had a weekly, and I decided I put a lot of mental effort into the Turtle event, and that was for a BlizzCon ticket. This is just a local.
Yeah.
I want to play some fun stuff. So my lineup was Big Druid, Control Ellie Paladin, Control Priest with Medivh and Mind Control. And,
You're naming all.
And the icing on the cake was Exodia Combo Mage.
The
I believe those are all decks that we've recently covered.
Yeah, so my plan was I think everyone had I guess everyone kind of like had a beat on they weren't gonna let me play Druid. I figured probably Druid will get banned the most. So it pretty much means that I'm gonna have to play Mage every matchup. So my goal there was to pretty much, let's just save Mage for last. That way, if I'm up and I have to play I can get 3 cracks with the combo Mage and hopefully get there.
Maybe you'll win.
Well, I actually only had to play Mage twice, and it won both those games.
That's good.
So.
Nice, yeah. Good.
Nice.
But
Quest Mage is an interesting beast to play against.
But Big Druid and Control Ellie Paladin didn't do too badly either, and then Priest was the only one that was like kind of 50-50.
Just not playing it right, clearly.
Well, I don't play a lot of Priest, so. But that's those are the biggest difference as far as between tournament play and ladder play, is that there's those two differences there. Like you can ban out your problem, you can take your problems away, and you can focus on stuff that you want to beat, especially in the conquest format.
Interesting.
Okay, so talking about because you had mentioned this too at the beginning, how at the beginning of Hearthstone tournament life, last year's standing was basically the way. And then it got changed to Conquest. And now it seems like there seems to be a resurgence of last hero's standing.
Finally.
Like, for example,
Seat Story was cool last year.
Yeah. So I guess our question to you is what is your favorite tournament format to play in, and also to host as a host?
I think for both, it's I pretty much will host whatever the group would want to do, what I think my customer or the players want, and for the most part they want Conquest, and I'll tell you the reason for that. And I have not much nothing against last hero standing. It's a fine format, and it's only really used in tournaments that are outside the HCT events.
Sure.
So any non Blizzard any non first party tournament could be last hero standing, and I understand why they do it. It's because it allows players to bring more interesting decks, because you don't have to necessarily you're not stuck with it if you take a loss to this. Like I brought this really interesting druid deck and it lost, so I have to win with it sometime. And I wasn't too sure about it. I only played this for a little while. Like Big Druid, it was represented quite a bit, like not quite a bit, but more than I expected in Seed Story this past weekend. But it's good.
A fair bit more than anybody expected.
Yeah, but it's a decent deck for Last Hero Standing, and I think it might have some wheels going forward. But I don't want to, hedge bets. Yeah. But my favorite format is whatever the community, whatever my community wants, whatever my customers want. Will do. You want to keep them happy, and you want to, everyone to be in agreement on this is what we want to do today. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
So, what was your favorite beat like as a player?
As a player, I like Conquest because I understand how to play that a bit more, just because I've had more experience with it. I understand. I have some understanding of how bans work. I have some understanding of how to target certain archetypes. Not like the greatest, but not like legend rank players. I've never been there, so I don't know what that's like. But that's another story altogether. But with Last Hero Standing, it's kind of like your lineup would probably change a bit.
I think it changes. Like
actually pretty drastically. It's not saying that the good decks aren't the good decks. It's just that the good decks.
It's much more about like counter, like you pick counters to every kind of possible.
Because you have the option you can eliminate a problem deck by beating it basically, or you can run the table by running through all their decks. You know what I mean? If you leave this one deck up, you know what I mean? Because like if you let's say they brought out control decks and you had aggro and you had J Druid, for example. They let you could leave J Druid for the end. That way, at least against the 3 combo decks, I have the best deck against the 3 in Last Hero Standing.
Yeah, sure. No, I get it. I mean, Firebat. People always talk about the fact that he won BlizzCon with Druid. That he just he swept with Druid. So, the big question is,
but the thing is,
how it performed in a Conquest format.
Yeah, the only other complaint I've heard about LHS is it does sort of promote meta slaving, and I definitely did see that when I watched tournaments back when LHS was the norm, because what would happen is this is like the era of like Patron Warrior and Secret Paladin are like the best decks. So what would happen is everyone would bring Patron Warrior. Every match would be you queue up your Patron Warrior versus mine, and whoever wins gets Patron Warrior, and the other guy doesn't have it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how that went down. And then the other guy had to, well, now I have handlock, so I counter your patron. Now I have handlock, so I counter your Patron Warrior. So, and that's how kind of it went down. At least in my recollection.
Yeah, all the decks are pretty much the same every time, always. Conquest definitely promotes better decks.
Yeah, because you want to although Conquest doesn't promote as much meta slaving, it doesn't necessarily promote as many interesting like rogue not rogue class, but like rogue or niche or fringe decks from like making it into the fold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Sure.
Because you do want to play like a solid lineup. You want to have like some kind of you do want to have some kind of focus. But that's how. So on the topic of that, on the topic of what's my favorite format to run and play, probably Conquest.
So I think I don't know if you guys have any other questions, but I definitely have one for people who are looking to get interest, starting to host their own fireside gathering or just some sort of small event. Do you have any advice for those people, or what steps to take?
Just put yourself out there as much as possible. Let people know where you're going to be, and like don't give up. Just keep pushing. You know what I mean? Once you get a small group, a small regular group, it usually just kind of picks up steam from there. Like when we were doing the weeklies at the Land Center, we started out doing them on a day of the week that wasn't that great. So we shifted the day of the week and we got more players, and we had a lot of new faces come through since doing that. And it just give it time. Don't give up. Put yourself out there. Let people know where you're at. That's all it really takes. And it's like that's all. As far as running online leagues, it's usually good to like cross. That takes a little bit more organization and crossing your eyes. Cross your eyes and dot your T's. Make sure your rules set. Make sure everyone's on the same page about everything. try to organize the best you can. Make sure having help from other people to act as your co-admin is usually a good idea. David's helped me with Hearth John every season. He also participated in the first one, which was really cool. What can I say? As far as structure goes, I think Steven mentioned the structure of Hearth John this season, but this was the first season we did that, because the first two seasons were a lot took a lot more time to complete because of how the structure of the season was. But this one was done in a way where everyone could play enough Hearthstone and not it'd be super taxing on everybody, like play oodles and oodles of games, because the first two seasons was round robin into the finale where everyone had to play everybody. We had over 20 people, so you have to play like over 20 games of Hearthstone in a 2-month period, and that's a lot for some people. And some people, schedules clash, or some people just can't play certain times. It makes it a bit this. But if you ever have any questions, you can always, feel free to join the group. Message me on Facebook. You can DM me on. You can DM me on Twitter at @DES_AdamN. I will get back to you pretty promptly, as I don't have much Twitter activity going on. But yeah, that's as far just general. As far as if you want to run Hearthstone, just put yourself out there, stick to it. It's gonna be a slow start at first, but eventually it just picks up. It can pick up.
Awesome. Well, listen, we definitely will, put the Philly Facebook group info in the show notes for people. This way that they can get, and of course your name, so that they can get in touch with you directly if they have questions, and of course join our group. We'll have that there. I'd really like to thank you for your time. This was an awesome interview. I think it really lets people kind of understand the back end of what goes on and how much work goes into this. It's not easy, and we do appreciate all you and all the other innkeepers out there that do the work. Big shout out to, of course, Sir Turtle and his crew. Do you have any other shout outs or people or anything you want to mention before?
Shout outs to just shout outs to everyone in the Philly area, anyone who I've played Hearthstone with, and ever. Shout outs to the fighting game community. If you guys actually got me on this path, believe it or not. So thanks for that. If you ever want to play fighting games, I'm a decent teacher. I can at least get your feet wet. Let's put it that way. Shout outs to local hosts for hosting events every week in Philadelphia. Come out and best part BYOB Land Center. Just putting it out there.
That sounds pretty cool.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's all I've got for tonight.
Yeah, thanks a lot for coming on.
If you want to stick, Adam, if you do want to stick around, we're actually going to be discussing Big Druid toward the end of our show on our deck list, and so if you want to just maybe stick around for a little bit and pop on to just talk a little Big Druid, you're more than welcome to stay.
But, I'll give you like a one sentence synopsis on Big Druid. It's a whole lot of fun.
The sentence.
It's pretty sad. It's pretty satisfying to just drop out fatties and like see what someone's gonna do about it time after time, because eventually they will run out of resources.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much, Adam. We really appreciate you having you on Around the Hearth, being our first and best guest. You have been our best guest that we've
I agree to
ever
that.
had.
Yeah, man.
Oh, wow.
Best one. Best one
Oh,
we've
that's nice.
ever had.
I'd like to thank the Academy. My mom.
Thank you so much again.
I'd like to thank my mom.
You're welcome back anytime. All right.
I guess we'll just take it out saying, can I say, well met.
Well met. That's incredible.
That's incredible. Same time.
All right, guys, have a good
See
cast.
ya.
Take care.
Thank you, man. Peace out.
Well, thanks again to you, Adam, for joining us. And again, we'll put all the information about that local stuff into the show notes at the end. But now let's move on into the news. Bobson, why don't you bring us in?
Do some quick editing real quick.
So, wait. We had some big stuff. Biggest announcement was obviously this kind of thing aimed at the the newer, the free to play player, guy who doesn't buy so many packs. So biggest change, you can know, starting from the next expansion, whatever it may be, you will, as soon as that comes out, you will not be able to get duplicate legendaries
Thank
in
God.
packs. That's any legendary you already have will never come up again in a pack, and this is like massive. No more like triple or Kachos.
Yeah, because that
No
happens.
more quadruple Nat Pagels. None of that shit. Once a card is in your collection, it's not going to show up again. And also, as a secondary side note to this, they've also said that because of this, you will no longer be able to get duplicate of the same legendary in a pack. Or you will also not be able to get more copies of a card than you'd be able to use in a deck
Which is
in the
always
same
good.
pack. So that's like no more like 4
No
wisp
more triple
packs.
vine cleavers.
No more triple vine cleavers as
Oh my
happens
God.
with dubs. None of
So-
that shit. It's just gonna it's I think
I
this
love
is, like,
this, but apparently
huge.
Reddit found one way to be pissed off about this, and someone was complaining that they were
Oh, God,
like,
what?
"We
is
can't
what I
get
hate.
golden legendaries now if we already have a legendary." Like, okay, yeah, you're gonna get a golden legendary anyways, right? So, like, let's say you open up. Let's go from old.
I mean that's kind of an interest. So yeah, you wouldn't be able to get
Yeah, if
golden
you own
of
a
legendary you already have.
Kazakus, you can't pull another Kazakus or a golden Kazakus.
Golden Kazakus.
So, I mean, I take that over getting multiple of the same ones any day.
I mean, if like, however, this rule does not apply if you have
That's
a full
true.
collection. If you have all of the legendaries, it goes back to what is the current system, wherein you can just pull anything, although none of the same in the thing still applies. And if you don't have a full collection, why are you so worried about?
If it's
the
that big of a
golden
deal to them, they
legendaries
can just
anyway?
dust the legendary they want to get a golden of and just keep trying. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, and like once you have all the legendaries, you can start collecting the golden ones.
Yeah,
But
no, and technically, if you think about it, if you had a full collection, you could always just take the one legendary that you want as a golden and dust it, and then the next
that's
legendary
halfway to getting to golden.
it's guaranteed to be that card. So I don't know. There's ways around it. You have to know there's pros and cons. I think this is mostly pros.
There is a con. However, I don't think it's that much of a con, especially compared to the huge pros.
I think a con to this applies more to free-to-play players, because
How so?
let's say a free-to-play player only has 30 or 40 packs at the beginning of the expansion, right? They get 2 legendaries, okay?
Yep.
They need dust to craft. Let's say there's 5 legendaries they want out of the set. They need dust. They need dust to craft one of the legendaries they want. So they dust some of the legendaries they have. It reduces their odds of getting a legendary they need. Whereas if it was random, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, every time you.
I mean, we're talking like it's going from like a 1 in 39 to a 1 in 40 here.
Right, and technically, I guess when you think about it, if there were 40 legendaries, it's 1 in 40 right now, I guess, in the random system.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just.
I think it's a very small change in probability.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're still going to get the dust, but there was a secondary. There were 2 secondary aspects to this. First one is that also from the next expansion, and every expansion from that point, I believe, the first 10 packs of each expansion, you're guaranteed a legendary.
That's good.
Which is so they want to like start like this is great for free to play players because they're guaranteed.
It's even better for people who pre-order.
And for those of us who are gonna open a stupid fucking number of packs, it means it just means you start off the whole pack opening shebang on like a nice note. So it's
changed.
So you don't have to like if you bought a shitload of packs and you don't open your first legendary till pack 37, you're kind of just like, oh, dude, this is not going to go well, is it? But if you get one in the first 10, then you're like, yes,
So-
legendary already. This is going to go well.
What this means is,
So what I believe they're going to do is it just like they've put the pity timer to like pack 30
yeah.
once you start the new expansion, I think.
This also means if you pre-order, you're guaranteed 2 legendaries. So you get that 50 packs, which is awesome. Because a lot of times you only get like 1.
Yeah, that's really
And people
cool.
are always mad.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Being guaranteed 2 is
I always
really
play devil's advocate, but honestly, this is just a fantastic change, and there's nothing but awesome stuff with it.
Has Reddit found a negative aspect to this yet?
Of
Why
course
can't it
they
be
have.
9?
So yeah,
Why not the first pack?
there also, as a side to this, there's a sale that's going to be coming very soon, where they're going to be giving bonus packs out for Ungoro packs. It's probably just a way to get a little bit more of your money before a new expansion drops.
Oh yes.
But yeah, I mean, basically,
By
the
7
you
packs,
buy
you
is-
actually get 9
Yeah.
packs. By 60, you get like 76.
78.
By 40, by 40, you get like 50 something.
Yeah, so
I
it's
mean,
at 60, it's almost a 33%
I mean, it's-
bonus. You know,
If you're gonna buy packs, might as well.
a cynical man would be this. This would be how many packs you would be able to buy for that amount of money before the price increases happened. Say you live on like a small island in the North Sea, such as Great Britain, where the prices went up dramatically.
Yes.
But a cynic, that would be a cynical man to say
Yeah.
such a
Yes.
thing.
So anyway, there's a sale going on, and it looks like it says it's the Tuggernaut says it's
Yeah,
up
I
in
think I got a
iOS, so the
notification
sale-
for it.
Yeah, the sale did start like just now, I
The
believe.
sale started. That's interesting because also there is a sale going on for Amazon. I know, but they wouldn't be concurrent because Amazon was offering 25% off of packs.
I believe the Amazon sale did literally just finish just now.
Which is why I think that this one started so they wouldn't double dip, so
That
people
would've
couldn't
been
double
nice.
dip. So
That would have been great. I love the Amazon getting coins
Amazon
back.
Coins is great. But anyway, so I'm glad that the sale is up. And if you're looking to buy some packs now for Ungoro, that now is the time to do it.
Yeah, so
I'm just going to go into the arena changes because or Dubs, are you familiar with what's
I'll be
what's
honest,
going on in the arena?
I missed this one. I don't know what's going on in the arena. Yeah.
So a big shout out to my friend Dan. He's known as the Cheat on Hearthstone. He's a big arena player now, and he pointed out to me a post on Reddit that while there's been no official announcement from Blizzard,
Mm-hmm.
that supposedly they in the recent changes in 8.2 patch, it seems that the frequency of getting Ungoro cards has been dropped. So people
Oh shit!
aren't getting Ungoro stuff as much, and the frequency of weapons has increased.
Oh.
So my friend was wondering. He just had a 12-win Paladin run. He had like 2 True Silvers, and he had like a Vine Cleaver, and he had like 6 weapons or something. It was ridiculous.
It's funny you say this. I watched an Amaz Warrior run earlier today, where he got like 5 weapons.
Yeah.
And this does, which is interesting because Warriors being in. This might be because Warrior is absolute fucking dumpster tier in arena right now.
Yeah. So
And
interesting.
That's
The
pretty
post is
cool.
by Taro469. He's basically one of the arena experts, and you know that these guys, when they play arena, as much as they do, they can notice little differences. So he has a huge post on Reddit. It's front page, so I definitely recommend that people go in and check it out. If you're an arena player, there's a lot of math, a lot of numbers, and
Yay!
too much for
Maths.
my brain to comprehend right now. But if this is something interesting, please check it out and go get yourself some weapons if you want to do some arena. So, Dubs, what else we got going on?
Seat Story Cup concluded, and big shout out to
Oh yeah, I
Mitsu
watched
Hyde,
this entire
he
thing.
got first place. He
Awesome. Mitsuhide.
sorry, he
Mitsuhide.
defeated Osaka in the
Gotta pronounce that
finals,
shit.
and it was just a great event. I watched most of it, and it was Secret Course Cup's always a fun time.
watched, like, the
Everyone's
entire
just hanging out wearing cowboy hats. It was fun.
Like I really loved the entire vibe of the whole. Like it was more like just a bunch of people hanging out and occasionally playing Hearthstone than it was just like a super serious
It's
Hearthstone
still
tournament.
$10,000 on the
Like,
line.
everyone seemed to be having.
So it was sort of
Oh
serious.
yeah, but like everyone just seemed to be having like a great fucking
Yeah.
time, and like it was quite funny. Like on the last day, you could see everyone really flagging. Like you could tell that they'd been partying the night. Like Forsen in his round of 8 match just looked the most hungover I've ever seen a man.
Yeah.
Like him and Rackpool had clearly had a great time the night before.
Yes.
But it was a really fantastic tournament. I enjoyed it, watching it so much. One thing that I really liked is the kind of casting aspect to it was like way less official than it is for most tournaments. Like, did you see what the way they did it was they had like obviously they had a group of official casters, like it was Raven, Soffel, Frodan, the normal people, but then for every match they would join, or every couple match they were joined by two other competitors. They were joined by 2 other competitors in the tournament.
A lot of times, the people who lost. Maybe they had Pavel too, but like
I think it was just like whoever agreed to do it. It seemed to be like it didn't seem to be like anyone who'd lost to one of the previous. It was
maybe
just
that was every time I saw.
Like they'd have teammates of the people who were playing, or people who lost them, or just whoever I wandered past at a given time. But it gave like it was made like really organic and fresh. So like you could hear kind of a lot of kind of unscripted, non-caster dialogue. It did make for a few awkward moments, which were quite funny in themselves. But it was like.
Did you watch the
Pavel
match?
Hear Jackie Chan.
Pavel versus
a
Mr.
witch
Yagut,
Pavel match,
where he was like he knew he lost.
The Firelands.
He knew he lost, and he was like, they're like he's just just gonna find up a deck, and he ended up going to like fatigue just so you can see what that guy's deck was.
And it was driving. Was it Orange or Powder? It was driving them fucking mad. They were like, "Why isn't he playing Arcade Intellect?"
It was in his hand like for 4 turns, and he like ended a turn with like 5 mana, 6 mana up.
I believe it was. I think the guy, either Orange or Powder, it drove him. He counted. It was 17 turns. Arcane Intellect was in his hands. Why isn't he drawing? Like you could hear him start to break.
It's just
like why?
It's just
was it against Misty? Like Pavel, on a related note, got some of the most insane RNG.
Yeah, they were like
he continued his trend. I think he was. I can't remember which matchup it was. It was he was playing Mage against a really heavily unfavored matchup. I can't remember what it was. It was either like Jade Druid or Taunt Warrior. No, it wasn't Taunt Warrior because that was with. No, it might have even been a different match, but he was absolutely going to lose, and he just got some fireboards with Antonidas. Antonidas Frost Nova something, and then he managed to clear the board on, I think it was 2 health, played a Firelands Portal with 2 Firelands Portal in the hand, and drew and got Halazeel from it.
Oh my god.
He healed himself out of range and then won. And it was just
I was watching a match, and they were like, he needs an auctioneer, and he played Nourish, and he drew an auctioneer. And I was just like, it's okay.
Yeah, there was like, I just kind of feel the tournament did end on kind of a sad note. It ended like 3-3 in the final on a quest mirror, and that's like the most RNG dependent matchup ever.
Yeah.
Because Osaka just drew shit and lost.
Yeah.
I was like, it's kind of a. I felt like it was kind of a gutting way to go out. Like he didn't draw a bounce for 7 turns.
Unfortunately, that's how it goes sometimes.
It was, yeah.
Fucking Quest Rogue. That's what happens when you play.
I really just love the way, like you said, the vibe and the feel of the tournament is just the best. Honestly, it's one of the most enjoyable tournaments to watch.
Yeah, I watched pretty much most of all 4 days. It was just really, really nice to watch. And you got to see Eloise try and fire a bow and arrow. Spoiler alert, she is not very good at that. It was
One of the things Eloise is not very good at. We can just add that to the
Ouch!
list.
Wow.
Oh, and also that there were like some real surprises. There was some real surprises both in terms of players and in terms of the decks that people were bringing. Like Strife Crow, both in terms of his lineup and like just his play, fucking killed it. Like was he last? I think he got to the last 4,
Yeah,
and
top 4.
like he got to top 4 and he was playing a completely different lineup. He brought Elemental Shaman, which I thought was insane, just because it shits on Evolve Shaman.
Yeah.
And then I think it was Subtle after one of his games. He was like, "So who did like you practice with? Who did you do the lineup with?" And he's like, "Oh, I just did it myself."
Yeah.
Like I think he's got a great mind for when it comes to just
Deck building.
deck building
He's
and building lineups and stuff. Strife Crow is adorable. Like I just want to give him a hug.
Yeah, he's I think in one of the top deck builders. Him and Savitz.
Yeah.
As far as innovation, and and of course Jackie Chan. But
Well, no, I'd say Jackie Chan's probably in terms of pure innovation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jackie Chan's, but in terms of competitive innovation,
Yes.
it's probably Strife Crow and Savage. Jackie Chan just memes.
But no, he's great. I loved watching Toast in the tournament. He pulled off some crazy memes. So
His
it
fucking
was,
priest deck. I was watching his priest deck, like, what are you? What?
No.
What? Double Shadow. There was one thing
we're all
which.
talking together when he pulled out the that mage the mage win at the end when he was.
Oh my god,
Infinite
the quest mage reverse sweep.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
That was one of the best series of games. And was it he'd played all the Sorcerer Apprentices, and then like what was it? Played Antonite, and then he just needed to draw any spell, and he won. But if he didn't draw a spell on the turn after the extra turn, he would lose.
Right.
And he'd be out the turn. And then he drew a Primordial Cliff.
Yeah.
It's like,
it was fantastic.
It was interesting to see Toast in like a tournament. He doesn't really do that, does he?
No.
Also, another note is Big Druid is a really big fig in tournaments now.
So let's move on to our deck of the week because we are running low on time. We're gonna skip over the meta this week because there is nothing to talk about. It is the same.
I believe we just said everything that needs to be said about the meta.
Yes. Okay, so now we're talking about our deck of the week. This is Ostkaka's Big Druid. We will have the link for it in the show notes, but I will just go over the what it has in it for the people who are listening on the podcast. The deck consists of the Druid cards are 2 Innervates, 2 Earthen Scales, 2 Wild Growth, 1 Wrath, 1 Mire Keeper, 2 Swipe, 2 Nourish, 1 Starfall, 2 Moonglade Portal, 1 Ancient of War, 1 Giant Anaconda. Then there's 1 Ironbeak Owl. We all love him. 1 Star Creeper, Barnes, 2 Bright-Eyed Scouts, 1 Karn Bloodhoof.
Karn.
How do you say it?
Karen.
Can Bloodhoof.
Karn, the Bloodhoof guy. Curator, 2 Primordial Drakes, Ysera, Deathwing Dragonlord, and of course Yasharaj. So why don't you talk about this, Bobson?
Yeah. Well, so this deck is was really surprisingly big in Seat Story Cup, and like what I think this one things that really comes up in last area standing, because it's like the thinking behind playing this in a tournament is that Jade Druid is a really popular deck in tournaments because it's just the best anti-control deck by so far. It just destroys control.
Yeah.
So what Big Druid does is this has all of the good matchups that Jade Druid does, but it also destroys Jade Druid. So you're taking all of the good matchups and then adding one more. So instead of like grinding out a Jade Mirror, which is kind of a pretty draw dependent mirror anyway, you're just giving yourself a nice matchup anyway. So in terms of the way the deck plays, it functions a lot in the same way that Jade Druid does. It's got like the base kind of thing, like ramp, but it's a ramp deck, and like ramp Druid's always been a thing.
Yeah.
And kind of Jade Druid is also a ramp deck, but less in terms of mana, more in terms of minion size. But this one is just pure ramp mana. So you got the Wild Growths, the Mile Keepers, the Nourish, which you will always know ramp for mana, and then a bunch of big dudes. So Deathwing Dragon Lord, Yashiraj, Ysera, Ken, which I thought was a weird one.
Hey, why not?
And then because this is Osaka's deck, which is made seriously, as like you may did you watch the Big Druid Bonanza between Rekful and Osaka?
Catch that one.
Like Rekful built like a hard counter to Osaka's deck. Like he basically just put every single big dude in a deck with the intention of beating Osaka, and Osaka still won with his serious tournament deck. It was beautiful. And so like it does run a few tech cards just to not die. It's got the double Moonglade Dwarfle, and the double Earthen Scales. Earthen Scales is huge in Big Druid because it's got so many huge things just to not die. It's got the Starfall, I believe, pretty much. Starfall and double Primordial Drake are pretty much just there for Shaman and Aggro Druid matchups, because they will mostly kill you straight away. I think the Wrath is also there just for the Shaman matchup, because the 3 damage against totems is
You need that. Yeah.
so good. Wild Growth, Mire Keeper, Nourish, all ramp. And then you have the Ancient of War as just like a knight. It runs quite a few taunts. So the Ancient of War, the Primordial Drake, and the Curator are all just kind of stalling. Then it has like the really interesting little combo of Ironbeak Owl is just like a nice kind of versatile silence effect. Like you can use it on a Spike Ridge Steed, you can use it on a Tyrion. Also, it is a beast, so it will get pulled by the Curator if you either that or the Giant Anaconda. But the most interesting synergy is Barnes and Ironbeak Owl. So the idea behind this is when you pull a 1/1 copy of a minion with Barnes, that is at its core the original minion, but with a 1/1 effect placed on it. So when you silence that minion, say it's a Deathwing, you silence that 1/1 and it's a 12/12.
That's kind of how I did a lot with the Control Shaman back in the day. With the Barnes.
Yeah, like you just get a massive dude on like I think the earliest you could probably do it is like turn 3 if you did innovate Barnes Owl. A turn 3 Deathwing's probably quite good.
Really nuts.
And then it's got like a few of the more recent cards in it. The Bright-Eyed Scout is just it's kind of like a massive high roll card. But at its absolute worst, it's a 4-mana 3/4 draw a card, which is still like a better. What's that thing called? Nomish Experimenter? That guy. Well, and it I think it was in Toast's game. It did whiff and it pulled an Innovate, and he did still play the 5-mana Innovate and still won. So I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
Another of the new cards it uses is the giant anaconda. So that is like the highest roll I think you can get from Barnes, the giant anaconda.
Yes.
Like, if you pull that guy from Barnes and you have say
GG.
either Deathwing in your hand, then that is a very sad experience for the
Yes, it
other
is.
player. Like it. So Oscar could try and, or you can just Barnes Yashiraj, and that's done. Like it's kind of like and then at its heart, it is a tempo deck. Like this deck just wants to get the biggest dude possible on the board as soon as possible, and like this is not a deck which is concerned with trading very much. It just wants to get Deathwing on the board as soon as possible and hit them in the face.
Yes.
And like so, it contains a lot of one-of tech cards in it to try and just stabilize against the really fast aggressive decks, and then from that point on, it will just win. Really, it's a really interesting deck. Like it's probably not the most recommended thing to bring onto ladder, but I mean, if you're facing a lot of control decks, or like you have one of those spells on ladder where you just run into Jade Druids for some reason, try playing Big Druid and you will destroy all of them.
Yeah.
So the deck list will be up on the show notes just after this. So I believe we'll be moving on to my challenge.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So everyone, we will. Oh,
I was gonna say we're about to take a quick break. Absolute, 10 minutes at most. We're gonna be showing this feature match, and all I have to say is, Robobson, don't embarrass the stream. So.
So yeah, so for the people, just as a reminder, this is our first viewer challenge. Kai pointed out to us a performance that Bobson had, which was less than stellar. So we have a challenge going on. The challenge will be four decks, ban one. You cannot ban a Warlock. You must bring a Warlock, and it will be Conquest. We will be streaming it right after, about a few minutes after the show ends, and we will post it up on YouTube for you to watch. Again, thank you so much for joining us. This has definitely been the best episode that we've done. It gets better and better because of you. So please email us, follow us on Twitter, Facebook. Please, Patreon would be fantastic if you want to become Patreon. And help support us. Bigger and better the show. And really, the number one thing we could really ask you to also do is, it costs you a penny, is please give us a 5-star review on iTunes. We really need it. It helps us get heard by more people and just make the podcast better. So thank you so much again. This was episode 12, and we will be going into our stream in a few minutes. So stick around. And for everyone listening, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye. We will be back in just a moment.